Hello, everybody. So, my name is Dominik, and I have a big belief that the number one reason people don't quit their job and don't start their own thing is because they're afraid of losing their salary. The salary is the safety net, and you don't want to lose your safety net. It's predictable, safe, secure. Going to your own thing is unknown. And in this story, I'm going to tell you exactly how I solved this specific problem. So the story goes like this. Back in 2016-17, I was 19 years old, and all that I had was 3,000 euros. Back then, it was 23,000 kunas, and inflation was not that big, so it kind of meant something, even though today it's basically nothing, right? So I decided, why don't I buy a car, drive Uber, pay it off, and earn the money that way so that I can do something, right? But $3,000 that was basically enough to buy a Fiat Punto or a Renault Clio from 2002, and you can never drive a taxi with that, right? Simply not allowed. So what I decided to do was borrow 7,000 euros additional from my parents. As I said, back then it was 53,000 kunas for a 19-year-old in kunas, no inflation. It was also a lot of money back then, especially 18, 19 years old. So what was my plan? Well, 3,000 plus 7,000, it equals to 10,000 euros, 75,000 kunas. And I went and bought my first car. So this was the beauty of the car. Now, one of the worst compliments that I received about this car is from one of my best friends who said, it's so nice and sweet, right? You should never say that to a guy, that his car is nice and sweet. It really crushes your morals, right? However, this was the car, Suzuki Swift, and I will never forget the situation. I went with my parents. They lent me the 7,000 euros. We were at the Suzuki Swift car where we bought it, and they were like listing all the money bills, and I was like, what am I doing? How am I gonna return all of this money? It's 7,000 euros. I'm in college, full-time studying, right? It took me 1.5 years to pay it off. How? Because I was driving Uber nonstop. I was driving 10 hours a day, just driving total strangers in my car, earning money, and every single month I was returning like 7 or 10,000, like 1,000 or 1,500 bucks per month to my mom. She was super proud, and she was even counting the bills on a small paper. She was holding a report of how much am I giving it back to them. I will never also forget friends who knew that I was in loan from my parents. And since it was 53,000 kunas, they were always laughing, Dominik, how much left? How much left? How much do you have left? And I say, well, it's maybe 49,000 kunas more. Oh my God, you're never going to pay that. Are you serious? And I was like, okay, just take it easy. I know what I'm doing. As I said, drove Uber, paid it off. Then, of course, like every other guy who gets tired of his car, I had to upgrade, right? Because it's boring. I need something new. I need a new dopamine hit, right? So I sold this car and I bought a new Suzuki Swift. This is the beauty. This is the beauty here. And one of my other friends said that this car is bombončić, which means like a sweet little candy. Another super bad compliment for a car. However, I sold that one, paid this one, earned enough money to pay it off because this one was a new model, 2018, 19, something like this, new version. And I paid this one as well. Then what I decided to do, as I said, paid it off in a few months, sold it again because I went to Valencia on an Erasmus exchange for 5 or 6 months. So one semester abroad for my final year of university. And since I knew I won't be using it for 6 months, I don't know, I'm not sure if I will use it when I return. And as a true capitalist, I just sold it when the price was the highest, took all the money, went to Valencia, and just got rid of my car, but with money in my bank account. Valencia is an amazing city. I recommend everybody, if you can go, just go. So what happened there? I knew the driving Uber was not my passion, even though it was bringing me, basically money, right? Good money at the time. I was studying marketing and I was working in marketing departments when it was not summer, because during the summer I was just driving Uber like a maniac. During the year, winter, autumn, spring, I was working in marketing because I had to do something long term, right? I can't drive Uber forever. I mean, I can, but that wasn't the thing. Like, if it was, like, why am I even studying, etc. While I was in Valencia, I read this book called Sell Like Crazy. I'm not an affiliate. I have nothing to do. You can buy it if you don't. You don't have to. And I fell in love with marketing, with funnels, and with email marketing when I discovered this book and realized how I can turn total strangers on the internet who basically don't know who I am into people who trust me enough to the point where they're buying my stuff. I decided this is what I wanted to do, right? I was working in marketing, general stuff, but this is what I found my passion, especially email marketing. So basically, that's what I decided to do. I continued working in other companies while I was driving Uber, just specifically for email marketing for 4 years. And that's when I realized I'm ready to quit my job and start my own thing. Now here's where the magic happens. It says because of Uber in the brackets. Why? Because, as I said, the number one reason people don't want to quit their job is because they're afraid of losing their salary, which is their safety net. Well, on the other hand, I was able to do that without being brave, without having a super entrepreneurial mindset, without taking so much risk, without being an extra, I don't know, just a risky person. I was able to do that with a rational mathematical sense because I simply had enough money saved up. And this is something that nobody tells you. Everybody tells you you can quit your job and get rid of the salary and just find clients quick, and if it doesn't work, you can go back to your job. No, that shit of a plan. Full of plan Bs and plan Cs and plan Ds. No, you don't need a plan A with a reasonable amount of cash that you can have as your safety net. So basically, you keep your safety net. It's just not your salary anymore. It's basically your money that you got from Uber or something else. Why? Because, driving taxi here or working in a restaurant or being a waiter in a bar, it's split. It's tourism, it's hospitality, it's what we do, right? So it's not super fancy job, but it's the thing that we do here, usually, like most people do these jobs, and it's the most basic job ever that exists here, and yet it can fund your dreams. So that's what made it possible for me. Without being brave, I was able to quit my job. I lost the entire salary and had 0 clients, but it was never a problem. Why? Because back then, I think I had like roughly 30,000 euros, which was, again, back then in kunas, I have to translate because it's just super bigger. It was over 200,000 kunas. And I realized if I quit my job and I only have to pay for doprinosi, meaning health and pension insurance, right? And basically just a little money for the for the rent and for the apartment, for the food, etc. I realized when I put everything on paper, I was able to afford 2.5 to 3 years earning 0 money and still being alive. And then I realized if in 2.5 years or in 3 years I find 0 clients, none, nada, then I'm really not capable of doing this. And then I will really return to my job. Of course, I knew this wouldn't be an issue because, I mean, come on, realistically, if you're an extrovert, if you know how to talk to people, and if you have 3 years in advance, you gotta find clients. It's just impossible. The only way you would not succeed at that is if you basically do nothing, right? But since I realized it's not a problem, then I wasn't afraid. So, and I also got 7,000 euros of self-employment incentives from the country. Basically the same amount that my parents lent me, but for some reason the government was way more strict and made me do some paperwork, which my parents, who have way less money, they didn't make me do any paperwork, but the country did. I don't know why. So I found my first clients. How? I wasn't actually searching them. One of them was my ex-employer. One of them was my ex-colleague from the company I used to work for. See how it's easy? Basically just find people who you know you can help, who already know you, like you, and trust you. Because I had 0, I didn't have a personal brand. I didn't have any referrals. I didn't have any, organic social media presence so that people can find me. Nobody. I just had people who knew me already. And then I said, hey, I will do the work for you. You already know me. You have nothing to lose. I was just charging them, basically 100 euros or whatever, just to test things out, right? It was super easy. Just take the people you already know. And when I started doing work for them, I invested additional $5,000 into coaching, even though I had no income. Why? Well, because I knew if I had $30,000 and I invest this much and I have $25,000, 25 euros was 1,000 was still enough for me to not worry about anything, and this would improve my skills, sharpen my email marketing skills, so that I do the work for them and I do it in the best possible way. So I delivered the results for these 2-3 clients, and then because I was crazy, all of the money that I earned, like roughly 2,000 euros, I invested all of that stuff into one-on-one consulting. What was my logic here? I was constantly investing into coaching, consulting, mentorship, education, courses, webinars, seminars, every possible thing you can ever imagine on the internet, just to invest in my skills, simply neglecting any revenue, any profits, because everything that I would earn, I would just simply reinvest it into myself. That was my logic. I used Uber to earn money, but I used marketing and education to not earn money, just to build something long-term. But Uber allowed me to do that, right? So I sharpened my general marketing skills because it was a different education. Then I invested another $2,000 into mentorship to learn how to get even more clients, because now I was ready with skills. I was packed. I knew everything, but I need to know how to find more clients, right? So I found 20 or 30 clients, and after that, I basically kind of got pretty good at what I do, right? Things roll, you get dozens of clients, they start referring you, all of a sudden you don't have to worry anymore, etc. Then I invested 5,000 again. I promise you this is the last one, with a different mentor, because I wanted him to teach me how to become a business owner. That was the crucial difference that I wanted to make. I wanted a transition from being a service provider to a business owner. What does this concretely mean? It means if I'm a service provider, I basically just sell my time, I deliver the service, then I just do the work, and then I try to find a new client. This way, when I became a business owner, this mentor taught me about leverage, systems, pricing, delegation, hiring, everything. So it allowed me to basically own a business instead of business owning me. I was working with this mentor for one full year, and basically it changed everything what I do, right? I was able to charge for the value that I was providing from my team without me necessarily being operationally involved. Best thing ever. And then overall, we had 70 plus clients since then, since all of the investments and everything. And we're not doing email marketing anymore, at least not only email marketing. Now we do full funnel development. Now the funnel development thing, for anybody who's not into marketing, is basically the process of how you take somebody who doesn't know you, either from social media, paid ads, I don't know, SEO, YouTube, podcast, whatever, make a series of all events that can happen along the way until they trust enough so they can buy stuff from you, right? We kind of expanded, but not in a unreasonable way, because what people do, we started email marketing and then people realize, yeah, I want to do paid ads, I want to do websites, I want to do SEO, I want to do video editing. No, that's not the point. You need to expand, but you need to expand in a meaningful way. What does that mean? Well, if you only do email marketing, for my example, how did people even land on email lists, right? If you only do email marketing for people who are already on the list, then you're super limited, right? When you do full funnel development, you can build the list, you can grow the list, you can monetize the list, you can realize what can you do with people later on once they buy, because it's not only about purchasing once, it's about purchasing multiple times, and so on and so on. So basically, I built my personal brand and created a category of one, because in Croatia, at least, nobody does this. Like I have yet to find a person that does the same service as we do. And because of that, we don't charge a pound of emails or whatever. We charge for a process, for a system that we can implement for you. And along the way, when I basically quit my job from the corporation that I worked for, I started posting on LinkedIn for years, every single day. Yasmin will tell you a bit more about that later on, which just basically got me clients, people reaching out to me in my DM, in my inbox, without me trying to or needing to find them. So that was the biggest game changer for me. So, what's the point of my story? Am I saying you should quit your job, and should you follow your dreams like the celebrities tell you because basically everything is possible? No, I'm not saying that. You should keep your job if you want to keep your job because not everybody is for entrepreneurship. However, if you want to quit your job, there's no point into saying that you can't do it because you cannot afford yourself to lose the salary that you want because you're afraid you will not be able to pay the bills. No. Just work as a waiter or as a taxi driver and then basically earn enough money so that it would be unreasonable for you to fail. Which means if you have enough cash saved up, then what's the problem? Like you're rationally secure. That's my whole point. No mindset. No watching YouTube videos from people telling you how to be brave and how to achieve that. No strategies. No visualization. No, none of that stuff. You just have enough money to do it and not be scared along the way. Earn money and do it, right? So go all in with one thing you believe in. For me, that was marketing. With all of your time, money, and energy. That's the only way you can do it. Now, a lot of people tell you that you need to give up on the idea of earning quick money. I disagree. You can earn quick money. You can drive a cab. You can be a waiter. You can have a lot of mancha. You can have a lot of tips in Uber. You can drive basically all day, and you can earn 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 euros a month, which is significant if you currently have your average salary, and you can earn every single summer and not be an idiot who spends it. That's basically quick money, right? It's if you can earn 4,000 euros per month and you work for 4 months, 5 months, and you can earn 20,000 euros, and if you do that 2 seasons in a row, that's 40,000 euros. Let's say you spend 10, you have 30. That's quick money, basically, right? It's not quick money from crypto, from gambling, from other stuff. No. You can have quick money and use the quick money to fund the real thing that you want to build for the thing that's not quick money, but it's long-term and it's your passion and it's your profession. That's my approach. That's what I did. And basically it worked for me in practice. In real life, it's not a thing that I heard something. It's basically a thing that I did without me realizing what I was doing. So, even with the most basic job, like driving Uber, you can set your foundations for success. Especially when you're driving Uber and you're driving rich people in the back of your seat who are tourists in Croatia, in Split, and you're asking them, what do you do? And all of them have these, cool businesses, etc. And I'm just standing here driving my Uber. Why would I not want to do that if I'm somewhat ambitious? That was my logic. Plan for the future. Now, once we did this, it's basically scale to 7 figures. Once we're at decent levels now, but it's basically goal to promote everything that we do in United States of America. We already have clients from there, and it's basically what the whole Split Tech City motto say. It's work locally. No, it's live locally, work globally. It's basically what we do. We're spending hundreds of euros into ads every single day, predictably getting customers. From the funnel that we build for our clients, we also build it for ourselves. Practice what you teach. Thank you for listening.